All right. All right. I'm here finally. I was hoping we'd have one more day of, deliberation cuz today was the one day I was busy and had to do stuff out of the house. So, I'm here finally. And so yeah. So, Kevin, thank you for the wake up calls. I saw them, but as I said, I was unfortunately out of the house. So, yeah. So, either way, we're here. Naven, good to see you. And Grey Duck and Lawnerd Debbie, you caught up just in time. Like I said, it was interesting seeing your comments, furiously catching up, trying to remember. Wait, what was going on that day? So yeah, basically yeah, you caught up. Unfortunately, you caught up to bad news. As Vince said, a crap ending to a crap trial. So yeah, bad scooter. Hello, and it, yeah, it basically yeah, yeah. So and JT Davis, yes, yes. I won't repeat that, but yes. So without burying the lead, you all already know we got a mistrial. So it's disappointing, but it's not surprising. Um Basically, when I gave my official verdict of, guilty of DUI manslaughter, in the back of my head I was thinking, but I don't think I said, basically, in order of probability, I I'd I would have given basically a guilty verdict the highest probability, although that still probably would have been a plurality, like less than 50%. But the next most likely outcome I would have assigned would have been the mistrial. And basically, not guilty would have been the least likely. So here we are. And Naven, I I need to try and update the link on my Discord. I suck at Discord, as everyone knows, which is why unofficially people find me in the masshole Discord. But yeah, so basically, I need to update the link. So yeah, and basically, Debbie, that's kind of my hopes. So Mr. Lawley says they are going to retry her. So, basically, without reaching resolution, it's not double jeopardy to retry her. And they can get new experts. So I really hope the state actually gets a real crash reconstructionist, or gives Trooper Paul massive training between now and the retrial. But really, they need to hire someone. They need to hire someone. They need to actually hire a dog bite expert, someone to actually refute the what was her name? The Dr. Dogbite that was a terrible, terrible, terrible witness. And it's just it's disappointing. It's disappointing. So, and Alpha, I saw that, but that's based on an old tweet from a different trial that Grant took it and ran with it, and for some reason, Court TV mentioned it, but it's false, unless there's some other source for a 10-2 verdict. But like I said, what I saw is an old tweet from like January from a different trial, and I'm assuming the word on the street you're talking about is that tweet, basically talking about jury nullification. It was a anti-cop juror and an anti-incarceration juror. That's Grant being Grant and not being good. And they could be. They could be. I haven't seen them, but they're public statements. They're anything she says can be used against her. And so yeah, I really hope they get someone instead of Trooper Paul. And Brandon, happy Monday. Happy Bobby Bonilla Day. Sports fans will get that. And yeah. So is the actual trial starting in a couple of weeks for Turtle Boy, or is that just a court hearing? Is it a pre-trial, or like I literally don't know where we are on the Turtle Boy case. I haven't followed it very closely. I'm hoping that frankly Turtle Boy is in prison by the time they retry this case, and without him the free Karen Reed apparatus falls apart. So yeah. I I didn't. Was that on Discord that you DM'd me, Naven? Okay. Okay. I see it. But and it frankly it could be if her bond says no new violations or no new police contact, or basically it depends on the wording of her bond, but if she gets charged, it could be a bond violation. She'd have to get a new bond on the witness intimidation as well. Frankly, if the evidence is there, I'm surprised she wasn't picked up for it on the courthouse steps walking out. But we'll see. And I mean, it's definitely a letdown after spending that much time on the trial. But that's court. That's life. It happens. It's I mean, we didn't spend $1 million on it, so the questions for the new trial, is Karen going to have the same lawyers? Can she afford the same lawyers again? Will the state, will Lolly be the prosecutor again, or do they bring in someone else? Do they have, McLaughlin try it? Or I I don't actually know the names of any of the other prosecutors in the county, so I s- McLaughlin's the only one I know. Um, do they get a special prosecutor in? Probably not. We've seen the caliber of the special prosecutors they bring in because, the old man they brought in for Turtle Boy, um, can't remember his name. He hasn't been very good, but I doubt it'll be 2 years until the retrial. I'm I'm guessing a couple months. I'm guessing a couple months, but y- you know, 2 years they don't need to run a full investigation. They've got the evidence, so we'll see. And that's it, JT Davis. I wonder, like, I have a feeling we're going to hear from at least some of the jurors at some point, because they are now, unless the judge gave some order, it's very rare for them to do so. But the jury is now free to speak to the media. They do not have to speak to the media. They sometimes sometimes their names are released, sometimes they're not. I doubt their names are released. Um, but they can speak to the media, and I'd be interested, were they leaning guilty but scared to bring a guilty verdict? Some of them, like, did they see the crowds entering the courthouse and say, I'm not willing to cross that mob, therefore not guilty? It, that there are questions. Naven, I'm shocked, absolutely shocked that you cuss a lot. I myself am appalled and would never stoop to that. Did you like my little Alan Jackson impression there? Mr. Gleefully using those words when Trooper Proctor was on the stand, but in his closing, I would never. They're just too shocking. Um, so either way, yeah, Kfar basically, at least as far as Trooper Paul, they need a better witness. They need someone better than Trooper Paul. They need someone better than him. He needs to be running traffic. It's doubtful, but frankly it is a possibility. It is a possibility because, as I said at the very beginning of the trial, if there's a retrial, there's a possibility they might have to move it to Boston simply to get a jury. Because at this point, it's possible that I can never remember if it's Suffolk County or Norfolk County, but it's possible that the just the jury is tainted. They won't be able to get anyone. The Between the trial and the crowds and, everything, it's possible that they might have to change venues. They might have to go downtown Boston. Like, frankly, if I'm the state, I'm probably engaging a survey company to find out. And so, you know, I'd I'd be doing a survey, find out if we can even seat a jury in this county. If not, move it to Boston. Like, so basically, right now, will they change venues? I don't know. It's a possibility. Probably not, but it's a possibility. I'd I'd definitely explore it. I'd definitely explore it. Um, so I don't hate jury consultants. They're useful. They can be necessary. I just didn't like YouTube jury consultants. But you know, basically, you look at Brian Koberger. You know, they had to send out surveys because you know, I think there's no way Brian Koberger can possibly get a jury in Moscow, Idaho, but without evidence, the judge isn't going to move it. So they sent out surveys. I think this might be the rare case where the prosecution might have to do that. So, um, and so that's possible. That's possible. Like I wouldn't expect it to take 2 years to prepare the next trial, is what I should have said. But it's absolutely possible that the calendars are basically full and 2 years is the first time slot they can find with enough time to hold the trial. Because you know, we've seen this trial takes a lot of time, and you know, finding that time for the jury or for the trial is difficult. So so basically from here we are going to watch the, you know, actual verdict from court. That's only going to take a couple minutes. But after this, I'm basically, barring any bombshells, I'm done with the Karen Reed case. Like, chances are I don't do any more videos on it. If, you know, if the jury, well, if the jurors give media interviews and something sticks out, I'll probably mention it like at the beginning of a different video, you know, just in passing, as I kind of do. I doubt I'll make a video on it unless it's a bombshell. Like I said, I I'm not going to. I just I can't bring myself to do the retrial. Like, there might be certain days I might do, like if the state gets a witness other than Trooper Paul, I might like make an exception and do that. But in general, we're done with it. I just can't. So the next trial that might be on the horizon, I'm not committing to it yet because, you know, things have to fall into place on my calendar as well to do a trial. But I'm hoping to do the Sarah Boone trial in September or October. It's on the calendar. I've mentioned before that I had my eye on it. I've had it penciled in for over 2 years. I literally intended to do that like a month after the Daryl Brooks trial ended. But so the ninth lawyer is Sarah Boone. She has officially forfeited her right to appointed counsel. So the judges had warned her, you have the right to appointed counsel, but that right is not unlimited. And at some point, you're going to forfeit that right if you can't get along with your lawyers. If you keep forcing them to withdraw, you're either going to have to hire someone or do it yourself. And unless she hires someone, she's going to have to do it herself. And I think that was the inevitable result all along. I think she's a know-it-all that, she knows better than her lawyers. So, yeah. But I believe they have 2 weeks marked off on the calendar for that trial. The expectation is that it's a 5-day trial. It could be, multiple days for voir dire, jury selection, a couple days for deliberation. It could be, though, that with Sarah representing herself, it takes longer. That's the way it works. And so, yeah, basically, it'll be a much shorter trial. So even if I'm not able to do the whole thing, I'll do my best to at least give you the highlights. And I mean, I have a feeling even if Sarah had a lawyer, she was going to testify one way or another because she can't help herself. She must have the last word. And I have a feeling, even with a lawyer, she would have testified in the narrative, meaning she would have told her story without her lawyer asking questions, because part of the reason all the lawyers have withdrawn, the ones that weren't conflicted out, is I think she wanted them to put on a defense that they ethically couldn't. And I think that would have extended to basically her testimony. And since they couldn't elicit perjury, they couldn't suborn perjury, they would have had to basically let her testify in narrative form. So, yeah. But that being said, let's watch the verdict and and then we'll be done. So yeah, and Casey, mistrial, jury couldn't agree, and we're about to watch that. I've just been kind of giving my thoughts on it. So we're about to say goodbye to the ceiling fan and hour 26 of deliberation. Ugh, I don't know yet, Kevin. Probably leftovers.
You are
So
unmuted.
probably leftovers.
Thank you. Be seated. Closing session.
22117 Commonwealth versus Karen Reed.
All right, the jury is at an impasse. So we'll bring them in.
I mean, I don't understand it, but
Rise for the jury.
yeah. The sooner he's in prison, the better.
Closing session. Please be seated.
All right, Mr. Foreman, I am in receipt of your note. Judge Canoni, despite our rigorous efforts, we continue to find ourselves at an impasse. Our perspectives on the evidence are starkly divided. Some members of the jury firmly believe that the evidence surpasses the burden of proof, establishing the elements of the charges beyond a reasonable doubt. Conversely, others find the evidence fails to meet this standard and does not sufficiently establish the necessary elements of the charges. The deep division is not due to a lack of effort or diligence, but rather a sincere adherence to our individual principles and moral convictions. To continue to deliberate would be futile and only serve to force us to compromise these deeply held beliefs. I'm not going to do that to you folks. Your service is complete. I'm declaring a mistrial in this case. I'll be in to see you privately in a few minutes. So thank you so much for your service. Okay.
All rise for the court, please.
Well, there you go. I'm kind of disappointed she didn't pull the jury. You often see it after a verdict that they ask each of the jurors, for their verdict. I'm not surprised that she didn't, frankly, in the interest of juror safety, because, the mob. So it's disappointing. Like I said, it's definitely anticlimactic, but yeah. So yeah, and they've lost so much, they've sacrificed so much, they have been harassed so much, and it's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. And basically the judge said, I'll meet with you in a minute. Basically, after trial, the judge almost always is going to go back into the jury room and speak with the jury, thank them, ask how she did, ask for feedback and all that fun stuff. And the often the attorneys get that opportunity as well. The jury isn't obligated to speak with them, but oftentimes they get the opportunity to go back to the jury room and ask for feedback as well. And so basically no double jeopardy, Brandon. It's so jeopardy has attached. They can't dismiss it and then bring the charges later down the road. Jeopardy has attached, but double jeopardy, basically it has to be dismissed, either dismissed after jeopardy has attached or a not guilty verdict. With a mistrial, with a hung jury, it's not double jeopardy. You get it's a mulligan. You get to go again. You don't have to go again. The state can say, we did our best and our best wasn't good enough. We're not going to try her again because we'll conserve our resources. I think this is the type of case that you don't back down on. So, and that's it, getting that feedback from the jury, whether it's in person in the jury room directly to the prosecution or media interviews or whatever, it could play a factor. It could play a factor. And, even in the days that the jury was deliberating, I kept seeing people say, she's factually innocent. There's reasonable doubt. Therefore, she's factually innocent. You can't, there was testimony that she didn't do it. Therefore, there's reasonable doubt. And the thing is, as I mentioned the other day, last week, the state's medical examiner said this is not inconsistent with getting hit by a car. It's not conclusive, though. It's a, undetermined cause of death. Whereas the defense witnesses, oh yeah, sure, it was absolutely a dog bite. And so the Free Karen Reed crowd said, well, there you go. That's beyond reasonable doubt that it was a dog bite because the expert said so. But once again, the jury gets to decide on the weight of the evidence. They get to decide the weight they give to the evidence. So even with Dr. Russell unequivocally saying, oh yeah, it was a dog, the jury can say, we think she's a lunatic. We don't believe her. But the jury can also say, Trooper Paul was terrible. We don't assign any weight to his testimony whatsoever. And so basically, that's where we are. The jury decided the weight of the evidence, and unfortunately, they couldn't agree. They couldn't agree. And they could. So going into the trial, the defense, I don't think, followed the rules. They didn't disclose their experts. But now the Commonwealth knows and can prepare. Of course, the defense can prepare as well. Although, due to the state's absolute obligations to provide discovery, a retrial gives the state more of an advantage than it gives the defense an advantage, because like I said, the defense knew what to expect. In this case, the Commonwealth, frankly, didn't. And so, and that's it. There's the question, do they pay little Alan Jackson again? And David Yannetti, do they get different attorneys? Do they, is little Alan Jackson conflicted out? It's just, yeah. So Court TV, unless it's different, they were reporting on an old tweet about a different trial. So unless there's a different source for a 10-2 split, don't believe it. Like literally until we hear from a juror, until we hear from someone associated with the trial, don't believe it. So I'm not saying Court TV is wrong, but if it's off of the source I think it is, then they are. And the defense wouldn't, though, because that would just make them look dumb calling him. And they'd basically it wouldn't work, them calling him, because they want to impeach him, but if he's if it's not on cross-examination, they just look dumb. And the like I said, I really think the Commonwealth needs to get a new expert. They need to get a new expert. And like, if it turns out that it's a 10-2 split, they really might, for all the discussion of, oh yeah, absolutely, there's going to be a retrial. If the actual jury split shows that Karen really is in peril, she might take a plea deal. Like, this might have, the result, while it hasn't put her in prison, the result still might be motivation for her to come back and say, so that old plea deal, is it still available, that 18 months or whatever? And it's just there's too much that we don't know yet. Like I said, I'm not going to believe the jury split until we hear from the jury. Now, from the wording of the note that the foreman sent to the judge, there were multiple guilty votes. Guilty of what? We don't know. Because the note just said, there are jurors that believe it's been proved beyond a reasonable doubt that the state has met its burden. That didn't say for second-degree murder, though. It could be for the DUI manslaughter. So we don't know. But from the wording, that would indicate multiple jurors were willing to convict. How many? We don't know. So either way, an uneventful end to a long, frustrating trial. So going forward, I have a lot of catching up to do on other cases. Lots in the in Schofield versus Giard, TikTok Psychic. Giard is still going crazy. Lots in the girlies, and as much fun as live streams are, I think I need to just do some recording without you guys to get caught up. Just because, as you know, with you guys distracting me, it takes me twice as long to get through a document. As much fun as that 6 hours was on Friday doing the Logan Paul complaint, I need to get caught up. I need to get caught up. And don't worry, Kevin. Not everything will be recorded videos. Not everything. But I do need to zoom through some of them. So basically, I'm going to try and in the next week or two get caught up. I'm going to try and get caught up. And I don't blame the chat. I don't blame the chat. I don't blame you. You are innocent, but I'm too easily distracted. I'm too easily distracted. Therefore, knowing my limits, I need to be alone for a while. It's not you, it's me. So, yeah, you're factually innocent. Factually innocent and playing the victim card. But then there's also the fact that, you know, live streams get fewer views is just the sad reality of it. And so, Vera, good to see you. So I do need to occasionally do some without you. That's not going to be permanent. I just need to do a few. And I realize I should probably, like, as much as I hate to do it, I probably need to do like a 10-minute scripted video of the Logan Paul complaint, just because, like, the coverage I've seen of it that isn't me, people are getting it wrong. People are getting it wrong, and people don't have the patience to sit through a 6-hour live stream, which I understand. But I just I think I might have to do like a 10-minute edited video just so that people know, you know, he's not actually suing over the trilogy, because that's beyond the statute of limitations. He's actually suing over the June video and tweet and the January of this year. And the June ones are like, he filed 2 days before the statute of limitation expired. And so basically, Kevin, that's what I'm thinking. I need to do one for the non-court nerds, the people who watch CoffeeZilla, who watch Logan Paul, who watch Charlie, various others, basically, you know, not reading the complaint, just here's what it is, here's how it's going to go down, Bing, bang, boom, done. And so, yeah. And yeah. So basically, and I lie when I say I'm going to do them as non-live streams, because I actually, for those videos, I do stream them to Twitch. But if I'm not live on YouTube, if I do get the occasional chat on Twitch, I ignore it and treat it as if there is no chat, just because that way I have it on Twitch. Before YouTube or before Facebook changed its rules, I did it on Facebook too, just because that was easier than loading it onto Facebook later on. And so, there's the secret, but that's just because I'm lazy and don't want to upload it multiple places. I'm recording it in StreamYard anyway. But if you're there on Twitch and I'm not on YouTube, I'll ignore you. So just fair warning. So that being said, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. And there you are. So, yeah, basically do all the YouTubey things, like, share, subscribe, bribe your friends and family to do the same. Don't be a dickhead like Turtle Boy. Don't intimidate witnesses. And yeah. So either way, have a good one. And I will see you all very soon for the next one. So bye-bye.